for the next session. So remember, Marianne, this is the session before lunch. Right?
Yeah, I know. I'll keep it short and sweet.
It's 12:30. It's 11:45.
I'm also hungry now.
Yeah, people are getting hungry. No pressure. So I had the pleasure to work with Marianne in the past. She was a senior functional consultant who knows everything about the Power Platform. She's not a stranger to the conferences that we run in the user group. She's done that before, and the shirt that she's wearing can demonstrate that. Old logo, we have to give you a one with the new logo. But yeah, tell us all about Process Advisor, Marianne.
Yes, it's a new thing, so quite interesting. Well, good morning, everyone, and I hope you're enjoying the event so far and learning a few things from the sessions that we've seen just previously. So my session, I'm Castro, and I'm a senior functional consultant, as what Rami said. And sometimes Rami referred to me as an MVP, although I'm not a Microsoft most valuable professional. What he meant by it is, in a sense, of a most valuable Filipina. And because I came from the Philippines, and we call females in the Philippines Filipinas, so that's where his joke came from. Yeah, so my topic for today is all about Process Advisor and Process Automate, and how these two tools can help you kickstart your digital transformation if you haven't yet, or if you have, how you can use these tools to actually look at your current processes and how to streamline them. I resonated with Bernie's mention earlier of, cutting costs. You can always optimize your code, optimize environments, but if you don't look at your business process, this is actually where you can get more cost effective process where you can enhance it. So why I chose this topic is simply because of that. When I came across a Process Advisor and look at what it offers, what it can do, I was like, oh, actually, yeah, because it will be really helpful having worked at a lot of projects in the past where I've seen that most of the challenges organizations have is to look at how can we actually analyze whether our processes are already streamlined, and where are our bottlenecks and all that kind of stuff. So let's see how Process Advisor and Power Automate can help give you insights into those issues. Cool. So first, I just want to look at what is a process. So what I have here right now is simple process of going to work. So I wake up at 7, exercise, have breakfast, brush teeth, so the usual routine. Because I have this data in front of me and I have the duration there, I can say that, okay, the longest running activity for my going to work process is exercising. So that's taken 30 minutes in the whole process. So because I have this data in front of me, I can say, okay, if I want to get to work at 8:30, I could just get rid of exercising, because then that would speed up my process. But if exercising is more important to me, then I could look at, maybe I won't brush my teeth today, or I won't do my makeup, because then that would save me 30 minutes. And I can still get to work by 8:30. So this is simple, easy. It's only for one person. One person decide, everything's good. But what happens when you have a lot of variations in your process? Rami, for example, want to have exercise, want to brush teeth, want to do his makeup too. Lynn want to get to work at 8:25. And so it's AK. So in Process Advisor, this is what we call a variation of a process. So just for example, creating an invoice, you have your SOP, this is how you do it, because this is how organizations should do it, but users will do different things. So in process advisor, that we call a variation of a process. Okay, cool. Hope that's, by the way, if you have any question, I think it's just easy. I want this session to be more interactive, so just shoot out and ask me questions. I know you're hungry, but just bear with me. All right, cool. So those are the, what are the process variations of a process. So let's look at what is a process advisor actually. So process advisor is an existing solution within Power Automate. It offers task mining and process mining capabilities. What it means is task mining allows you to record your actions, group that actions into activities, and run it through Process Advisor for analysis. Process mining is something new. This is actually still in a preview. And what it offers is you can have your activity logs. So for example, you can extract activity logs in your system, load it into Process Advisor. Process Advisor analyze it, and then gives you analytics of, where are your bottlenecks, which variation of a process is taking longer than expected, et cetera, et cetera. So how Process Advisor works is either you're doing the task mining or process mining, it's the same thing. So you add your data or your recording, you analyze the data within Process Advisor, and then Process Advisor will then tell you the recommendations, and with the power of Power Automate gives you some automation recommendations. And we'll see that in action in a while. This is how a task mining looks like. So once you've, so this is the process diagram. Once you've done your recording and loaded your recording, then you will see, so this is where the process starts. You have 3 process variations. So meaning for this invoice submission process, you have all those 3 variations, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. I think it's better if I show it live on the screen instead of a screenshot. So I'll tell you all about the legends and how you can, what those elements means. Aside from the analysis from the previous screen, you'll also get application analytics. So because this is a recording, because this is a task mining, which is more suitable if you have legacy systems. So if you have, for example, in the process that I showed earlier in this one, this is the process here was you download an invoice attachment from an email, you put it in a OneDrive, you have a legacy invoice application, you open up your PDF, copy paste. So this is what that process was for. So that's why in the application analytics, it will tell you how many apps were used for this process, what's the application usage. So in this case, you have Outlook, you have the invoice legacy system. So all the analytics will be here as well. Similar thing with process mining. So task mining is, as I mentioned, it's recording of your desktop actions. While process mining, it offers the same thing. There's just a little bit of difference between what analysis or analytics it provides, but essentially it's the same. But it's different because with process mining, it's not a desktop, it's not a recording, it's actually a logs of activities. So later I'll show you how that works too. The time analysis, so instead of application analysis, you have time analysis with process mining. Let's get into that later. And yeah, I'll play the demo of how you can create a task mining. So here, let me just, Okay, it's paused. So this is how you create a new process in Process Advisor. So it's within makepowerautomate.com. You go into Process Advisor, and this is the screen that you'll see. Task mining is the recording. So this is where you record, and then the data, which is still in preview, this is the process mining. So I was looking at when it will go on general availability, but I couldn't find it. So guys, that will be your homework today. Let me know if you find it. But yeah, I was looking at the release wave documents, and yeah, I couldn't find it there. Cool, so let's continue. So here I'm going to do a task mining process. So just giving it a name. Creating it. And then this is when you add a recording. Sorry, Remy. So this will actually load the Power Automate desktop recorder. So what I'm recording here is, I was just trying to mimic what that process was that I showed earlier. So from a OneDrive, I open a PDF, an invoice PDF, and then I copy paste it to my dummy, not really. I don't have any more Windows desktop applications, so I just look at whatever online invoice app that I could use and just trying to mimic it's my desktop app. So here, so creating the invoice from NZBAS, and so what the desktop flow do is it captures all the steps that you're making. So NZBAS ordered monitor and pizza. Rami, do we have pizza later? Yeah, so it's just keep on recording everything that you do on your desktop, basically. It's an expensive pizza. It's too thin. And then saving it. So save the invoice. And as you can see, it recorded all the actions. And I will click finished. And then that will then go back to Process Advisor and view the recording. So your recording will be basically all the steps. So now that you have all those steps of your task, what you need to do is group them together into activities. So just like how we saw, in my initial slide where you going to work, you could have sub processes in your exercise, for example. So in your exercise, you can have a sub process of or sub task of you're doing abs, you're doing triceps. So those will be the sub tasks within, and these are your main activities. And this is what the main activity is, what the Process Advisor looks at to see and calculate how long this task took, and then do the analytics from there.
Yes. Can you deal easily when someone gets distracted?
Sorry.
As an example, whenever I'm doing invoicing, if someone messages me in Teams, click on the message, I reply, put it back down. How does it deal with basically classifying interruptions?
Right. So when you're recording, so this actually, let me just go back to. Let me just see if I think I've finished this. Okay, so let's go to the next screen and I'll explain, I'll answer your question as well. So once you have the recording, so for example, in this recording, this is for a specific person. Yeah. So what you can do is, it's actually will be a bit challenging to get everyone to, record, install your desktop, power on my desktop, record your actions. But I from this perspective, I don't think that will be a valid scenario in this case, because it's more of a happy day scenario. Like, how do you do your stuff without interruptions, or how do you really do your stuff when you're 100% focused on work? So in this example, in my invoice submissions, Igo Nelson, this is his own recording. And so what you do is, once the process advisor is created, you share it to the users. And then the users will then individually follow your recording, create their own, how do you do your invoicing, submit it here, and then maybe it's best to have someone group those tasks into activities. But also process advisor also auto create those activities based on all those tasks. So it can do that as well. And then once you have all the recording and you're happy with it, with all your groupings, you can then do the analysis. Yeah. Did I answer the question?
Yeah. Just tell them not to get distracted.
Yeah, you're recording. You don't want to be distracted. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, that's how it works. So I might actually just give you guys the.
So I've just checked, and Process Advisor is available. So it is there.
In GA.
Yep.
It still says it's preview.
There's two on the
There's, yeah. Process Advisor itself is available, but the process mining is still in preview. I actually loaded this earlier. Why it's loading again? Yeah, apologies. It's loading. So in this example, I have 3 variations of my process. So this is the invoice submission process, where what you've seen earlier, I open the invoice, enter the details into my legacy application, and then send an email to notify my team. So I have 3 variations of my process. I have 5 recordings. So if I look at this specific process advisor record, this will be this invoice submission, and these are my recordings. So if I dig in, for example, into the first recording, I can see that this is the tasks and group into activities. So for each of those recording, it will be the same. So they might have, variation on each task and activities, but in the end, this is what Process Advisor came up with. So I have 5 recordings. I have 3 variants, so meaning, this is your starting point, and two people actually use this path, and 1 person used this path. So 2 people downloaded the invoice from email. 1 just opened an Excel, and 2 open Excel, and 1 directly open it from OneDrive. So from here, you can see all the variations, and it gives you the average time, gives you the number of processes within each variation, and average time it took. So how long did in average how long did, let's say, downloading the invoice or entering the invoice details. So as you can see here, because you have to copy paste from your PDF to the legacy app, this is the longest running activity. So with that, you can say that actually we could automate that instead of having people manually, copy pasting this. And as Bernie said, that split second, if you combine it together, that will save up a lot of time. And from here, how you then go into Power Automate is, as you can see, there is this icon here for Power Automate. So this is what Process Advisor see as a task that can be automated as a recommendation. So from here, you can click on Automate Activities, and then it will open up Flow. Should I just click that Automate Activity? And then from here, it will then auto select the connectors based on your Process Advisor analysis or result. So in this case, it knows that I'm using Outlook to download my invoice, so it gave me the Outlook connector. Excel, because someone also copy pasted from Excel. OneDrive, because somebody opened OneDrive to get the invoice from. And yeah, there's a lot of templates as well in Power Automates now. So yeah, imagination. You just have to imagine what you wanted to do, basically. And there will be, if it's a legacy app, you can build custom connectors for it. So AK actually have a very good session later about custom connectors. So yeah, so that will be something that I think it will be really helpful. Some organization can't, immediately migrate into, let's say, Dynamics, and you have like, 10, 15, sometimes 50 legacy applications. So that's always a challenge. So building something, so if it can be integrated using a connector, then you can use a connector, or if not, you can use the Power Automate desktop, just like how we record entering something into your Windows application. Right, cool. Let me just go back to my. So with task mining steps, so in summary, so yeah, you create your recording, you share it with the people that you want to record as well for analysis. They record it, you annotate, edit. So annotate, edit meaning you group them together as activities, and then Process Advisor can analyze it. So in more detail, how you can start is, of course, you need to identify a specific business process within your organization that you want to look at. So you create a process and record the steps, share the process, record, set up each step into activity, analyze, give it the result, and then look at areas for automation. So just like how we open Power Automate from within Process Advisor earlier. Any questions so far?
One quick question. With the help of this process analyzing thing, where Dynamics already had email to case, if the email comes with an attachment, creates a case, and it has email in the attachment, is there any way, have you ever got a solution to see what the attachment have a predefined values to extract that information, pass it back onto some of the fields inside the case?
So
Can
you
repeat the question? So that we can just repeat the
Oh
question.
yeah, so the question is,
For Marianne.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
okay? So the question is, you have a scenario where you
Invoicing
receive an email. So for example, an invoice come in. The invoice is as an attachment.
Yep.
And you want to read that attachment for further action. Yeah, I think you can do that in Power Automate. Can you, Lynn? Yeah, I mean, that's... Huh? Yeah, he built it. See? Yeah, so, but I think, yeah, that's one of the, what do you call that? That's one of the processes that we could actually automate using Flow Power Automate. Did I answer your question, actually?
Actually, I'll follow up with Lynn later.
Okay, you follow up with me later. Sorry, yeah, another question?
Yeah, just one. Besides the recording, I saw databases.
Yes, I will do databases afterwards because after task mining, because I don't want you guys to be confused. So I will finish up task mining and then we'll proceed with process mining. Yeah. All right, cool. Any other question for task mining? Yeah.
With the recommended automation, does it recommend the structure of the flow or just the connectors you should have and then leave you to build the flow yourself?
Yes, you need to build the flow yourself. So it would just based on, I think what the process advisor do is based on the result of the analysis, it then identify whether this connector is available or whether this step can be automated. And then it loads that screen for you. And then you can decide, oh, okay, yeah, I can do this, I can do that. Cool. No more other questions? What time is it? Okay, 12. Right, process mining. So we've just covered task mining. We're onto process mining now. And process mining is you don't have to do recording. You don't have to do the desktop flow. All you need to do is get your activity logs. If you have an existing system, you need to download the logs from there for a specific process that you want to analyze, and then load that into Process Advisor. So how it works is, so this is a demo. So for example, I have this list from my system that I've extracted. So I've got invoice entry again. Yeah, our favorite process. So in this spreadsheet, which is I've extracted from my system, is I have my resource, the resource role, location, timestamp, and then the activity name, and a case ID as well. So the case ID is sort of your ID to group them together. So you'll see that how it will be transported later on. So I have about 500 rows of records here, and what I will do is, once I'm happy with it, I will upload it into OneDrive or SharePoint, and from there I can then load that into Process Advisor. So I go back to Process Advisor, click Start here. Instead of recording, do Data Preview, and then Create. And then from here, this is where you'd call the Excel, the spreadsheet that you've had. But as you notice, you're not limited to just spreadsheets. There's a whole bunch of data sources that you can pull data from. Even Dataverse as well, of course, will be there. But yeah, so SQL, Amazon, so all this, Snowflake, all these different data sources. Yeah, I have Dataverse, Google Analytics, Web API, so all this stuff. So here I'm just selecting the Excel workbook, which I've uploaded in my OneDrive. I'll go click select, click next, and then that will load it into Dataverse and open data flow for processing. So here in data flow, you can do your transformations if you know how to. So yeah, you can filter down, you can transform your records if you need to. Everything that you can do within data flow. So next step is you need to map your columns. So your columns, like your resource or location, map it into the process advisor fields. So I'm gonna go and map it to the entity. And just to highlight here, so there's two things that it presents: activity log or event log. So if your spreadsheet or if your log have an end time and start time, then you choose activity log. But if you only have a start time, so meaning whenever the next process started, that's the end time of the previous process, then you use the event log. So in this case, because I only have one start time, I only have one time, so I will use event log and auto map because it's same column name, it auto map it for me, and then I'll just hit OK and save and analyze. So fast forward, well, that's analyzing. So it takes a while for it to analyze. So just to note on the legend, so in the process diagram that we saw earlier, thicker lines there means that more people follow that path. The darker colored activity, meaning that's the longest running activity, the darker it is. And these are the different variants in the report. So just go through. Good thing I recorded today. Otherwise, it would be like, so long. Right, so this is, so similar to the how we saw task mining, there's just a little bit of difference. So this is what the process advisor, a process mining diagram looks like. I'm just gonna go into like showing it here. So that will be my accounts receivable. So it tells you also, you can take here if you want to just see the longest path or the shortest path or the simple path. The default will show you the common path. So as you can see here in that data that I loaded, I only have two variants. So meaning everybody followed this, of course, from the start, 66 of which, can you actually see? Oops, sorry. So 66 out of 100 followed this path, 34 followed the other path. So I've got two variants. I have 100 cases and 11 activities, and the median, so it gives you the average case duration, which is 1.86 days. And you can drill in. So for example, this is, as you can see, this is the bubble that is the darkest. So meaning this is the longest running, which in average took 19 hours to complete. So this gives you the idea that actually we should look at our approval process for an invoice. Why is it taking so long? At the moment, there is no, as just like how we saw in task mining where you have automate, what was that? Automate activities that it goes to Power Automate immediately. I think that's why this is still in preview. So it's not available in here yet for that feature. Yep, so any question on process mining? No? You guys are hungry now? Oh, yeah.
So access to that one is restricted to access to the data.
Yes, yes. You can do, so with, you mean for the analytics? Yeah, yeah. So it has its own security role as well. Yeah, in Dataverse. All right, cool. So Process Advisor also have templates, just like how Power Automate have, you know, existing templates that you can use. Process Advisor also have templates that you can use, and you can even use it now with, I think I gave it here, with flows. So, you know, you can look at individual flows and look at which action is actually taking longer, where's the bottleneck for that flow, why is it taking so long, if there's any action that often gets an error. So it gives you that analytics as well. Yeah, so you can use it with Power Virtual Agent, Desktop Flow, and Power Apps Insights. And this is the Power Automate template, which I think I already mentioned earlier. And in terms of licensing, Process Advisor is licensed as part of a Power Automate per user license. And other actions such as contributing, because when you need people to contribute to your recording, they won't need a license. So so that's good.
Can you do that cross-tenancy? So I've got my business which does have the licensing, and I've got lots of clients that have their own tenancies. Will I be able to share out of my, hey, can you do the recording up into my business tenancy for us to do the analytics of your, or do they have to have an email address within to be able to do the recording?
If they are in different tenant, I think they can, I'm not sure whether they can access the Process Advisor in a different tenant. I can get back to you on that. Yeah. Is that your case? Okay. So in summary, yep, so Process Advisor and Power Automate, you know, helps you deliver insights about organizational processes. It highlights bottlenecks and longer running processes in your workflows, recommend workflow improvements. It helps you to make informed decisions and help you automate manual tasks. Yeah, that's all for me today. Thank you, and hope you guys enjoyed.